All right, how's it going, everybody? This is Dan with HurtboxTV, and we're doing a bunch of new stuff today. This is not a normal reaction video. This is going to be something completely different, something that I have talked about like elsewhere, not on this platform, but I'm a big proponent for what this guy is testing out. So this is a video that's been making the rounds, and I wanted to take a watch because apparently it's fucking great. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, but it's also gonna be very guitar related. I will try to best explain uh what's going on and all this good stuff. We're also using a new monitor. So I bought a Tomos Ninja 5 V5, and that way I can bypass the recording limits of my camera, which is only like 20 minutes, and when it overheats, you know, you have to sit there and wait till it cools down. So we're doing that. I'm going to try with this video as a test, see how well that turns out. Either way, what are we taking a look at? Well, this video here is by a man called Jim Lil, and bigger YouTuber, very cool guy. I should subscribe to him. And he's doing a video that's called Tested, Where Does Tone Come From in an Electric Guitar? And this is like a big debate when it comes to guitar players. They all want to say a bunch of different things. I've heard asinine things about where tone comes from, and I've heard everything. I've heard frets affect tone. I've heard the neck fretboard affects tone. The pick guard affects tone. The bridge affects tone. The tuners, the nut, everything except for like what actually really fucking matters when it comes to Tonewood. And I swear a lot when it comes to this, because I will just put out my biases right now because I'm right, is that Tonewood is 100% a scam that is being sold to you by big name companies like Fender, PRS, Gibson. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care that I'm naming any brands. These are the people who sell this myth. They're the ones who came up with it. Just it's the biggest scam on the planet, or one of the biggest one of the biggest Ponzi schemes, I guess, is the fact that wood affects tone in any actual way on an electric guitar. And there's been tons of videos that have explained why this isn't true. And there's been videos that have done tests that are trying to prove their wrong bias, which is that Tonewoods do stuff. I'm looking at oh god, what's his name? Chappers, Rob Chappers and Tom Anderson, when they did that tone video. That's a fucking awful video. I'm just gonna let it out there right now. Rob Chappers is a dipshit. I'm sorry. If you like Chapman guitars, cool. They look nice. But the founder, the guy who he doesn't even run his own guitar company anymore, that guy, he's a dildo. He's an idiot when it comes to this stuff. So we're gonna take a look at this guy. I'm going off on a rant and a tangent. So I'm just gonna say right now, this right here, this dumb contraption that he's got going on, the two benches with the guitar pickup and all that, is gonna sound exactly like whatever guitar that he has to compare it to. I'm just gonna put that out there right now, because before we start the video, I'll tell you right now, the things that matter when it comes to a guitar's tone, there's like four things. The pickups, right? The pickups are the most important thing. These are the things that transmit the vibrations of your strings through to the output jack. This is the most important thing. Second most important thing is the tone knobs, the volume and tone knobs, because these add a resistance. These add a resistance through the chain of the signal chain from your pickup to the output jack. It's an output jack. This is an input jack, by the way. These, if you don't have one and you wire it straight to, the pickups will sound different. These add a an ohm resistance that just changes the output. God, I'm getting heated in this. It changes the output of your pickups already. And let's see. That's really it. The only other thing that really affects tone, and this isn't affecting tone, it isn't tone is in the player's hands. The player is important when it comes to tone, but it's style. Style is in the player's hands. So whoever's playing this guitar is going to sound radically different from me playing this guitar with the same exact hardware, but the tone will still sound the same. It's just that it's going to be stylized different. The amp also matters too. If you're playing different amps, you're going to get different sounds. There's a whole slew of things. So let's just get right into it. We've talked for like 5 minutes or something, 6 minutes. So let's go ahead and let's listen to what this guy has to say. Hit play.
Over the holidays, I wanted to find out the truth about where the tone comes from in an electric guitar.
Okay.
What makes one electric guitar sound different from another when they're plugged into the same amp? I've read and heard all sorts of ways that every single part on the guitar can make a difference in the sound, but I don't actually know if any of that's true.
That's basically what people have been telling everyone.
Capture the results with audio and video so you guys can see for yourself and decide what you think's important too. First thing I did was
So immediately, I really like how this guy's going about it, because he's going about it from like a totally impartial, like, I want to see what actually does stuff when it comes to guitar. Like, what is actually going to affect the tone, which is nice. Like, I already have come to the conclusion and I already know, but I like it when somebody comes in and he's going to test that theory out. Like, what's actually going to change? Because there's been videos that have shown this before. Like I said, there's been more aggressive videos on it. A lot of my guitar information comes from a guy named Scott Grove here on YouTube. He's a old ass guy in Nevada who's collected thousands of guitars and sold thousands of guitars, and he's been right on pretty much everything when it comes to, you know, guitar. A lot of my guitar purchases and my guitar knowledge is because of this guy, of Scott Grove. And he's been one of the biggest guys that say Tonewood is bullshit. And I'm sorry, Gibson, I forget what that forum is called, mylespaulfandom.com. Yeah, only Tonewoods. Like, those people, they will sit around and they're cork sniffers. They will look at an aged Les Paul and just go, that Tonewood smells exquisite. And they do it all the time, trust me. So what I like is that this guy is being impartial about it. This is mainly going to be a Gibson rant, even though I have like 2 Gibsons and a bunch of Epiphones, but Gibson is the biggest offender of this Tonewood bullshit. And yeah, let's just keep playing.
Email 3 very high-end guitar builders whose guitars I've
so he probably went to boutique builders,
and I asked them the question, what 5 factors in an electric guitar make the most difference in the amplified sound?
I bet you most of them are going to be wrong. Most of them are going to say like Tonewood or neck, the fretboard. Yeah, they're probably going to say like, most of them are going to say like all the common shit. So let's see if I'm right.
Here's how they responded.
Okay. So I'm going to pause it again because I want to read these. So there's 5 factors that he wants them to list. So this first guy over here, bodywood as a big contributor to the general character of the sound, absolutely false. That only really makes sense when you're looking at an acoustic guitar, because an acoustic guitar, you have a big wide body, you have the sound hole. The sound is just being amplified out via the sound hole in the body. I can see it when it comes to an acoustic guitar. Acoustic guitars sound different, like just straight up. So I do believe Tonewoods exist when it comes to an acoustic, but once you put it through like a Fishman pickup, or you put active electronics and you plug it in directly into like how I'm set up, then it does not matter. As soon as the pickup's involved, doesn't matter. So neckwood as the modifier to that, I don't even know what the hell that means as a modifier. So this wood affects something, and then the neck somehow affects something else. Okay. Pickups as the microphone and tuner for the sound those first 2 make. You know, luthiers most of the time aren't guitar players, and most of the time they're fucking dumbasses when it comes to, you know, knowing anything about the guitar other than how to build one and set one up. Pickups aren't a microphone. When we use the term microphonic pickups, like if you tap a pickup or if you put it through distortion, it starts squealing, it's microphonic. Like if I went and I talked, like if I'll mute this channel. Let's see if I can do it with this. Hey, 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 hey. So you can do that, right? You can go ahead and like yell into your pickups and it'll be acting sort of like a microphone, but it processes the sound of your strings differently than what you would typically use for like this. This is not this. They're two different things. They have a similar function, but they're not built the same way, and they don't act the same way. My voice got transmitted super different than when it does through here. You know, vice versa. If I were to mic this up to here, I don't even know how you go about doing that. But anyway, I don't even know what the second part of that sentence means. Hardware, bridge, and tuners help contribute to the tone and tension feel. I don't know what he means by tension feel, but hardware can make a difference. I'm not talking about like the bridge. I'm talking about the pickup specifically. Pickups are going to be that and the electronics. Those are, like I said, the two biggest contributors. I actually forgot to mention pickup height as well. So if you look at like the pickup, it sits a certain distance from the pickup sits a certain distance from the string. The higher you go, the better output you get. The lower you go, the lower the output. So switching a pickup's height will 100% change the tone. And that's just because you're raising it up and raising it down. It's picking the string vibration up at a different rate. It's weird. It's weird science to explain. And I'm not really that qualified to talk about it. Like just the exact sciences behind it. It's just that the distance from the string matters as well as the distance from the bridge. So from where the strings come out of the bridge, if this pickup was shifted 2 millimeters forward or 2 millimeters back, that would change the tone of the that would change the tone of the guitar. That also matters. If you had this same, if I picked up another Les Paul that had the exact same scale length, and I put these exact same pickups in a different Les Paul that was made out of different wood, but everything else was exactly the same, it would sound exactly the same. Just saying. That's my point. Let's see. The finish is left. The guitar finish is the other one. This is another really big one that these stupid guitar manufacturers love to tout as a thing that affects the tone. I don't understand why they think a nitrocellulose finish or a lacquer finish or, you know, like any kind of finish on a guitar is somehow going to restrict the tone or restrict the wood. The wood doesn't get to breathe properly. Motherfucker, I have guitars that are made of plastic back there, and those sound absolutely amazing. There's guitars that are made of man-made material, and those things sound absolutely incredible. So, that first guy, he's just dumb. He only got like one thing kind of right. Let's see, the second guy, neck. Again, tone follows the neck more than anything. I don't know what that means. This guy's dumb. Body wood, of course. Weight of the body, weight doesn't do anything. Bridge saddles, pickups. That's the only thing, pickups. That's the only thing he has that's right. So another thing too is what the wood does. I know this is supposed to be a reaction video, but this is also me talking about like what actually matters. So the wood of a body, what it's supposed to do, and this can work with any kind of material, is you're causing a sort of resistance to these pickups just going wild. And what I mean by that is if you've ever played an acoustic guitar that has electric, like has a pickup, you know, like an acoustic electric, and you plug it into an amp with, you know, with distortion, with high gain like I do, they squeal to high hell. They got this loud ass feedback noise. It's disgusting. Same thing with jazz guitars, because there's no actual mass to them. They're pretty much hollow. They just don't have a sound hole. The reason why we make solid body guitars is because the solidness of the body causes doesn't allow the pickups to vibrate like that freely, just start feedback looping into itself, something like that. But it doesn't have to necessarily be wood. It can be an all metal guitar, it can be an all plastic guitar, it could be anything. Like, as long as it's a solid body that doesn't allow the pickups to just constantly feed back into itself and cause a loop, then there's going to be no squealing. That's the only reason why we use solid body guitars. You have semi-hollow body guitars like that Gibson that I played, the ES Custom, the Midtown, and that has a center block that's just a solid strip of wood that goes through the body of the guitar, and then it's hollowed out on the ends. That doesn't do anything for the guitar. So, the last guy, we're just going to keep going. The last guy, the player. Player definitely affects how a guitar is perceived, but that's just because if you're playing like Marty Friedman and you're... You know, if you're playing like Marty Friedman and you're doing these, you know, he sounds different. He's got a style as opposed to if I was to play... As opposed to a different guitar player. You know, like Yngwie is gonna... He's gonna sound different from another guitar player playing his exact same fucking strat. You know, Richie Blackmore and Yngwie sound different. And that's just because players play different. Players attack the strings different. They have a different picking style. They just play a different style of music. That's the only reason why people think tone is in the hands. It's style. People don't understand that it's, you know, style. But the guitar's pickups and other electronics, he's correct there. Hardware, not really, no. Like, not at all. The construction of the guitar, the only time you're going to get that is in a lap steel guitar, and that's because the entire thing is one solid block of metal or whatever. You'll have the bridge is one giant block of metal that's mounted to the whole damn thing. Like, the entire body is like the instrument. There is no electronics or there's no hardware that is added after the fact. Like this Babix system bridge, that's just mounted to the wood. Like nothing about it helps resonate better, you know. It's not even like touching the guitar physically. It's just mounted to posts that are in the guitar. So again, hardware doesn't really do anything. The construction of the guitar, chambering the body, and the guitar scale length. This one is actually partially correct. Not the chambering of the body, but the scale length. If I were to take this guitar, put these pickups in a Fender scale length, which is generally longer. Gibsons are like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're like 24 and 0.75, 24 and 3/4 scale length. And what I mean is from here to here is going to be 24 inches and like 3/4, almost 25 inches from the nut to the bridge. Whereas like a Gibson, or whereas a Fender is like 25.5 or so, is like 25 inches, I think. And then PRS is like 25 and a half, so they're a little bit further back. It's going to change because that's going to be the difference where the bridge is now different from where it would be on a Gibson, which means that the pickup is mounted differently. It's going to be back further or forward further, depending on your scale length. That's going to change the tone. Like I said, pickup placement is going to change the tone. And then woods and materials the guitar is built from does nothing. So there we go. Those are the three people.
I was surprised at how different their lists were from each other.
There you go.
And with these factors in mind, I needed a test guitar that I could hack up and change parts on without feeling stress. So I bought a kit for $100 and put it together.
Okay, cool. These guitar kits, I really would like to build one. I've never bought one. You got these cheap guitar kits?
Baseline, I tested it against my Tom Anderson.
Okay, so he's got a really nice, that's a really expensive guitar. Did he say what pickup it has?
Tested it against my Tom Anderson telly because almost everything about the Anderson is different than the parts caster.
There's a Seymour Duncan in the bridge, so it's probably, what's it called, a fat stack? Seymour Duncan fat stack. And there you go. You can hear an audible difference because they're two different pickups. You've got cheap pickups in that guitar.
The only difference here, and
then you have really nice pickups
in the guitars. Everything after the guitar is identical, and everything before the guitar, so the player, the picks, the strings, the spot on the strings where the pick hits, how hard the pick hits, how
so he's
fast
trying
the
to
pick
be
hits,
like as controlled as
controlled
possible.
as tightly as I can. So the only difference that you're
Very
hearing
cool.
is the difference between the guitars.
So that's what he wants to do.
Long,
okay.
But it's finite. So
I'm not going to read all that.
The first thing I did was replace the pickup in the parts caster with a Seymour Duncan vintage stack and tested that.
Okay, vintage stack. That's what it's called.
And after testing
you see that? Did you hear that audible difference between the cheap guitar pickup and the nice Seymour Duncan vintage stack? That right there should just tell you that the Tonewood does not make any goddamn difference. It's the exact same stuff. He just changed the pickup and it sounds better. What did the maple guitar, that thing, or alder, or ash, whatever it's made out of, somehow affect the tone of the pickups? No.
The Anderson, which also has a vintage stack.
And you can already hear they sound similar.
Then I tried a pickup height test. The pickup was set at kind of a medium level, so then I cranked it down really low and then up really high to see if that made a difference.
So did you hear?
After that,
that's what I was talking about too. Setting the guitar pickup height changes the output, which makes a guitar either quieter or louder, because you're picking up more of the string the higher up you are. So that right there already shows you too that pickup height matters.
I continued forward through a bunch of tests, including sanding the headstock down to a normal shape.
Okay, so he made it look like a Telecaster.
Having a loose versus tight neck joint.
That doesn't do anything.
I tried brass saddles versus steel. Using a traditional thin steel ashtray bridge instead of the longer, thicker steel bridge that came with the kit. I tried top loading the strings versus putting the strings through the body.
I like how he's going through all of these different things.
And I tried using a strap bridge with no plate.
So, yeah.
When I did the no plate test, the crude pickup mount I fashioned wasn't very stable, and I couldn't keep the pickup in one spot. The differences I noticed even during the same take, based on tiny amounts the pickup was moving, frustrated me because I couldn't accurately test the strap bridge, and I hadn't really been paying close attention to how close the pickup was to the strings. So I started to wonder whether the tests I had done were even valid, and if any difference heard between the bridges or the neck joint or the headstock shape was just from the pickup being slightly different distances from the strings.
See, and that's the hard part, is that you have to take into consideration
this came to a head when I was
things
testing
like
necks,
that.
and I'd put the parts caster neck on my blue Strat copy to see how much difference an unfinished maple fretboard neck had from a finished rosewood fretboard neck. The heel angle didn't exactly match, so the action was ridiculously high, and I made the prediction before testing that with the strings so far away, the tone would sound weaker no matter what the differences in the necks were.
Those sound virtually pretty similar.
So I asked myself, what if I militantly matched the distance from the pickup to the strings?
There you go.
I got my feeler gauges and measured the distance from the low E string to the pickup and the high E string to the pickup on my Anderson and matched it as close as I could on the parts caster. Then I tested
like it. He's trying to get it down like the millimeter. Okay, I was talking while he was playing. Let's go back and listen to that.
On the parts caster. Then I tested it.
Those sound exactly the same. I'm sorry, they do. God, I love those kind of like bluesy country licks.
This was a turning point for me.
All right.
There were a lot of
I
things
saw that he
different
put a
about
Boss
these two
SD3
guitars,
compressor
and not
on
a lot
there.
that was the same. At this point in testing, here's a list of all the things that these two guitars had in common. I became more interested in testing the things that were on this list. And a big one was the guitar
25 and a
body.
half
What if I
inch.
took
Okay,
a
yeah, that's right.
radically
That's
different
that's
approach?
Fender scale
Could
length.
it sound the same as my
25
Anderson?
inch is
I'm out in the barn and it's time to pick a new guitar.
PRS. I got those two mixed up. Oh, what's he gonna do? Is he getting it like a 2x4?
This one looks good to me.
There's another really great test. I can't remember what it's called. I saw a long time ago where somebody was like hacking pieces of a guitar off while they were while it was playing or something, just to show that the wood, like the amount of wood and stuff, doesn't change anything. Oh yeah, look at this 2x4 guitar.
This is the 2x4 guitar. It was made from a piece of scrap wood bolted to a neck from a 72 reissue.
Okay, so it looks like
the neck has a thick finish.
Looks like he's just
3-bolt neck joint. The neck radius is 7.25 inches. Steel saddles were installed.
Looks like he doesn't have any
pots
though.
The strings are top loaded. The pickup was wired directly into the output jack.
That's going to change the tone.
But it had a Seymour Duncan vintage stack pickup.
It's already going to sound like brighter. I forget what it does. I think it makes it sound more brighter. Yeah. The pickup will sound brighter because there's no resistance that's like cutting the ohms, or it's like cutting the there's no resistance, so it's a lot more high end is being filtered in.
Couldn't get it to exactly
through the output
match.
or through to the guitar.
Maybe the bodywood
the guitar
does play
amp.
a role, or maybe it's something to do with the neck finish. But I was hearing a harsh top end, so my thought was that maybe
there's more high end
I
in that.
wired straight from the pickup to the output jack and didn't include any electronics.
There you go.
Highs off to ground. So
watch, it's going to sound exactly the same now that he has a tone and volume pot. Sounds exactly the same. I love it when I'm right. I'm sorry, I get to be smug about this because I've been saying for like the last decade and a half, like for the last 12 years or something, that guitar tone woods don't matter. I used to believe that shit when I was in high school. There you go.
This was the bingo moment for me. I had the data. I captured it on video. You just saw it. At this point, here's what the two guitars did have in common. That's a pretty small list. I was satisfied with my research and ready to stop, but I had this voice in my head of all the players and builders out there who have thought about electric guitar a certain way for much longer than I have, and that seeing a 2x4 plank guitar still might not be a grand enough gesture to push past.
Oh no, you got
beliefs.
tone
So
2x4s.
I went even farther for
tone
one last
blocks.
test.
There we
This
go.
is
There's
the air
the
guitar.
steel bench guitar.
I made it out of a bench and a shelf.
that we saw in the beginning.
My dad made the bench in 1990 for repairing
Are
motorcycles.
those motorcycle
The
engines?
shelf is upside down, sitting on two chairs, and weighted down with a pair of Honda engines.
That's
The
hilarious.
ends of the shelf are braced against the bench with 2x4s, so the strings don't pull the shelf closer to the bench when tuned up.
That makes
The
sense.
headstock is a piece of wood with tuners put in it.
So that makes sense because for those of you who don't know, when you put 6 different strings on a guitar and you tune them up, you're putting so many, I think it's like 100 pounds or hundreds of pounds of force, like on the neck or something like that. I forget how much force is being put, but the tension is constantly. It's like if you didn't have any way to adjust this, if it wasn't reinforced like it is, then it just. And you can see it, like if you ever, that's why you don't put steel strings on an acoustic, like a nylon string or an acoustic, because the force of it will just rip the neck out of its pocket. It will literally just fold your guitar. So don't ever do that.
The nut is the bottom half of a metal locking nut meant to go with the floor.
So literally the only wood is the headstock.
25.5 inches away are the steel saddles on the steel top-loaded bridge.
So this
The
is
Seymour
probably
Duncan
measured
stack
to be the
mounted in
exact same
plate,
scale
and
length,
all of
25
that
and a half
screwed into the
inches.
bench. The pickup is wired to a
There we go, we got the same
disembodied
pots and
pellet control
everything,
plate
so
with a
this should
250K volume pot.
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it sounds exactly like the expensive Telecaster. Cast your vote down below. I will literally donate like $1,000 to. I will go and donate $1,000 to fucking a random charity. No, that's mean, because if I'm right, then that means that no. I will go and give Gibson. I will go and buy an expensive Gibson if it turns out that this is true, and I will take everything back I've said about Gibson. But I doubt that's gonna happen.
To a jack, and a guitar cable goes from the jack straight to my combo amp.
Okay, everything's going to be basically the same.
D, and so is my Anderson Telly.
Oh, he's tuned it to open D. All right, so it's going to be an open chord.
Both multiple times on the same spot on the strings.
I fucking told you. They sound exactly the same. That's hilarious.
Here are the things that the Anderson and the air guitar had in common. Tuning. Strings. Scale length. Pickup. Pickup distance to strings.
There you go.
Pickup position along the strings. Pickup slant angle. And effective volume pop value. In the future, I'll be looking deeper into these factors.
Those are essentially all the things you need when it comes to tone. So what he meant was resistances, is that there's different resistances for pots. 250k resistance, 500k resistance, and I think there's a 1000k resistance pot. Basically, it's just like a level of filtering for, like, it's complicated to explain, but basically it's just the higher the number is, the more filtering that's being done when the pickups are running through the pots and out to the amp. And 250 is like the least amount you're going to get a brighter sound with your pickups. Usually, this is usually used for pickups like single coils and whatnot, which is probably what was in this guitar, because he's using single coil pickups. I have a 250k pot in one of my guitars that has a humbucker in it. Humbuckers typically use 500. I like the sound of a 250 on some pickups, on some humbuckers. Sounds actually kind of cool. And I've never tried a 1000 pot, so I don't know what that sounds like. But that's probably, that's what he meant by resistances, like the 500k, 250k stuff. But basically that's everything that you need to know about tone, is the distance from the bridge, the distance from the strings height-wise, what kind of pickups you're using, in the electronics, as well as the scale length, and same tuning as well. Like, your guitar is going to sound different if you play it in a different tuning. Like, you're just playing it literally in a different tuning, but if you play the same chords just like wherever they're supposed to be, they'll sound exactly the same.
Join me.
Oh, now you get to play like a lap bench guitar. Bench steel. I understand why you put it in an open tuning too, because, like, could you imagine trying to figure out what fret you're going to be playing chords on? You can't even fret stuff here. Cool. So, there you have it. That's basically what I've been saying all along, is that does not matter what your guitar is made out of, as long as you have the same pickups and all the other garbage that I've been saying and what he said. That's essentially what makes tone in a guitar. And I'm sorry to anybody who might be offended watching this guy's video or watching me calling every guitar brand that likes to say Tonewood is a thing a fucking idiot, but they are. This is literally the only thing. Like, this guitar sounds different than when I played it last, because, hey, look, I have a active Fishman pickup set instead of the DiMarzio Super Distortion that was in here. Hey, guess what? I can also change the tone again because I can flip this and it just changes the mid-range of the guitar. So, like, there's tons of things that influence the tone of the guitar. This entire body is not one of them. Tonewood's is not one of them. So, sorry, just isn't. So, yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. How am I doing on time? I mean, I've got like 2 hours of recording time left. I'm good. I'm aces. But yeah. So pretty much, there you go. There you have it. Anybody who knows guitar on this channel or is looking to get into guitar, you don't need to bother with this nonsense of Tonewoods being like a factor in your guitar purchase. Buy yourself a really cheap Squire, like a $300-400 Squire, and if it needs some touch-ups, like the fret ends suck or they might be a little bit rough or something, go take it to somebody to have them round it off. It'll cost a little money, but just take a cheap guitar and mod it over time. That's all you really need. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars on a really good guitar. You spend thousands of dollars when you have money and you want to have a really cool looking guitar that usually doesn't have that usually has all the bells and whistles that you want, you know? But I have guitars that are super cheap. I've got a guitar I played it not that long ago. It was that Harley Benton single cut. I bought that thing for like $250. It was like B stock, $250, $275, something like that. And then I just threw a whole bunch of money into hardware upgrades. So there you go. Tonewood. Tonewood is the biggest lie that guitar companies try and sell you on, so they can upmark guitars that are made out of bubinga or, you know, mahogany, or, y'all, look at this ebony fretboard. That's going to cost you a premium, or, you know, a bunch of other woods. You know, we got this crazy Purple Heart going on. It's just a way to sell you on really expensive woods that just look nice, and that's all they do. They're expensive just to look pretty. So, there you go. That's it. That's it for the video. I'm Dan. This is Hurtbox TV. Hope you liked this kind of video. Again, this was just to test out what it's like recording on this new thing, as well as watch this guy's video, because I saw this recommended a couple of times, like on my YouTube on the YouTube algorithm, and also a couple of other channels that I know of were doing reactions to this. So I said, you know what, screw it. Why the hell not? I'll take a look at it too. Even though I knew basically the outcome of this video was going to be what just happened. This guitar, this lap guitar, sounds exactly the same. So I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. You know what? Actually, God, it's been a while since I've done these. If you want to get early videos, I'm going to plug stuff because this is the end of the video. I always plug it at the end. I don't like plugging at the beginning. You can get water bottle. That'll help. That helps the channel. If you want to get videos early, like a day early or just the day before, just for the low price of $1 a month, you can get a bunch of videos that I post. When they come out, they'll come out a day early without ads and all that good stuff. And yeah, you get access to a Discord, a special Patreon Discord, and like a Patreon section on the Discord and all that good stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to see, I'm going to be doing more reaction videos for video game soundtracks and whatnot. So yeah, take a look forward to that. You know, that'll be coming out throughout the week and throughout the month. I was just waiting for like hardware and stuff to come in so that I could start trying and testing out and getting past these long ass limits without having to stop and record. But yeah, thank you everybody that's been supporting me so far. I've been able to do a lot of these upgrades because of that. So thank you very much. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Peace. I love John Sykes. Oh my god, he's such a riff king.